When 6,865 players walked into the room, the dream was just forming. With 22 remaining, the dream is nearing reality. What if?
What if I won?
What if you won it all?
$8.7 million. Very good question.
Go on vacation for 6 months and start from there.
Probably look to start a family soon.
I don't think it changed my life that much.
22 champions in waiting, each looking to make that last push for the bracelet. The chance to win it all is closing in. Welcome to the final day before the final table of the World Series of Poker main event presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky.
Still in the main event with 22 left. Things could be worse. I guess I could have 25 million. Things could be better.
Phil Collins seems loose as the remaining players file into the Amazon room on day 8.
Let's make things happen.
Kenny Shee will try to make it happen in his familiar cow hat.
I have a good stack. I'm only 5 million short of average final table. We'll pick up a few chips, and if the new or 9, we'll go from there.
A bit nervous actually, but we'll see what happens. All good.
Costa Rica's John Hewitt joins American Ben Lamb and German Pius Heinz. Little Rock's Sam Barnhart is hunting a big final table payday.
Ready to rock and roll.
Indeed, it is time to make that final push to the final 9. 6,865 players started, just 22 remain right now. Ukrainian Anton Makievsky leads the way.
The 21-year-old looking to become the youngest ever to win the main event.
Ben Lamb's amazing World Series keeps getting better.
The Player of the Year leader looking to make his 4th final table of this World Series.
Brian Devonshire is not letting the pressure get to him.
I don't have to give you 10%.
I don't care.
Play about to get underway for Devo and the other 21 players. As we said, Makievsky on top. ONOD is in second. The top 5 come from 5 different countries.
Ukraine, Ireland, Canada, Russia, and the U.S. in that order. This used to be an American game. Where did it all go wrong?
The blind's at 100,000, 200,000. The ante is the same as the original starting stack, 30,000.
Ben's like, I don't mind.
What are you going to do? You're going to have 2 towers of chips? Or
No, I'm going to try to move them all over here. You think so?
First place, $8.7 million, and by the end of this day 8, we will have a November 9.
Folded around to Martin Stashko in the small blind with ace-jack offsuit. He raises to 400,000. John Hewitt in the big blind with the king-6 of spades. And he'll come along, heads up.
Blind versus blind, Costa Rica versus Czech Republic. It would be blind versus blind versus blind if we had the super blind.
The flop now, 8, queen, 8. Ace high for Stashko, he checks. King high for Hewitt, he checks. Turn card now. Another queen. Stashko keeps his advantage with the 2 pair on board and his ace kicker. He checks again. They both check.
Lon, I didn't come here to watch check all night.
No, only Stashko is from the Czech Republic. Of 4 of clubs on the river. Hewitt misses, so Stashko is best, and he bets 475.
That's not a bluff. I think Stashko figures ace high is good.
With the 2 pair on board. Hewitt with king high calls, and he will hand chips over to Martin Stashko.
Hewitt thought it was a bluff.
But Stashko ends up with the best of it, and he'll stack the chips.
He bet or he bet?
Ace high bet.
He bet I called.
Yeah, box bust though, right?
A while ago. Yeah.
A while ago, yeah. It's all a blur at this point. This is like day 14 of this thing or something stupid like that.
Yeah, I've been next to you, Lon, for way too long.
With one more day of play until the November 9 crystallizes, the main event grind is taking its toll. Of the remaining 22 players, Norman, only Ben Lamb has made it this deep before. He did that in 2009, perhaps giving him some unique insight into just how difficult this day will be.
The main event's such a tough, grinding marathon. It seems it's only for young legs. Just one player remains over the age of 50, Little Rock's Sam Barnhart. And Sam is tired. He couldn't even answer what he'd do with $8.7 million. Hey, Sam, we're both AARP eligible, so let me help here. Just give me the 0.7, and I'll point you in the right direction with the remaining $8 million. Now, go win this thing, buddy.
At the 8-handed secondary table, Ukrainian Anton Makievsky has the big stack, while American Chris Moore is working the short stack.
I think it's a bit better down here, don't you? It's not quite as hot. I feel a bit more.
I feel more comfortable here, actually.
I feel a bit less surrounded. But
it's less. It's just poker.
Yeah, exactly. It's a bit more cozy.
She and Holden sound like they prefer the slightly quieter surroundings of this table's location. $8.7 million to the winner, the fourth biggest top prize in World Series history. The current payout of $302,000 is impressive, but so much more to be won if you can climb the money ladder.
Yeah, $300,000 seems nice for a week's worth of poker, but you're so close to truly life-changing money.
Folded to Lars Bonding at the secondary table with pocket aces on the Jack Link's beef jerky hole cam.
Bonding 273rd at the 06 main event, worth $39,000. Chump change.
$455,000 is the raise from Bonding.
The first year the main event champ earned $1 million was 1991, Brad Doherty.
And the hat, Gianni Demers with Queen 8. And he will give way to Chris Moore.
Moore stacked devastated when Makievsky flopped a full house on him late on day 7.
He's down to $3 million. He folds to the button qua win with ace jack. He makes the call. In the small blind, Costa Mamaliatis with pocket fours.
Importer-exporter, worked as an intern at Art Vandelay Industries in 1994.
He makes the call. Kenny Shee folds his big blind. So three-way action to the flop. Three of the older guys remaining in this main event. There's the flop. Trey 4-7, just the flop Mamaliatis was looking for. He's going to wait and see if the others want to put chips in the middle. Bonding with his pocket aces.
Quite comfortable with that flop.
$550,000. He better be careful. Now to Win.
Win thinks his ace might be good here. It would not be.
And he will get out of the way. So back to Mamaliatis.
An amateur from South Africa. He describes his company as the Walmart for ships. Right now, Costa has the Neiman Marcus of hands.
And it looks like he wants to play for a little more. Costa with a raise to $2.3 million.
All in.
All in.
All in and a call. Bonding in trouble with the pocket aces.
Bonding about to be served his exit papers courtesy of the shipper.
Lars Bonding staring at the dagger-like reality of elimination. Mamaliatis flopped big. 9 of diamonds is no help to Bonding.
And remember, Win had an ace, so only one ace left in the deck for Bonding to stick around.
The river card. The 8 of clubs. Mamaliatis wins it. Lars Bonding knocked out.
Tough player, has to say goodbye.
What a great fall of the cards for Mamaliatis, and he winds up with all of Lars Bonding's chips.
Mamaliatis taps his finger to his nose, which I believe means your product will come as soon as this event is over.
Bonding wins $302,000. The $13 million plus stack of the South African amateur includes 3 chip colors. The orange chip worth $5,000, the $25K green chip, and the most coveted chip right now, the $100K purples.
In ancient Mesopotamia, King Nebuchadnezzar married the daughter of Cyrus just for the purple chip dowry her family offered.
Almost 206 million chips total in play right now. 3 tables in action, each 7-handed. Ace-king for Andrei Patachuk. The Russian with a raise to $400,000.
And of course, Lon, there's the old Babylonian wives' tale that if you skinny dipped in the Euphrates River after midnight, you'd find purple chips in your bed when you got home.
Fold it around to Ben Lamb in the big blind, Queen Jack. 26-year-old makes the call. And he will go heads up against Patachuk, who's going to school in Russia. 4, Queen 4. Lamb outflops Patachuk, scoring queens up. They both check. Turn card. Another 4. Lamb with a full boat now. That's a comforting feeling. $550,000. Patachuk with ace-king comes along.
Well, this is like the earlier Stasko-Hewitt hand where you might think your ace-high is good.
River card. 5 of spades. And the ace is no good. Lamb with the best hand.
And Lamb very comfortable betting his full house.
Lamb bets $1,125,000, half the pot.
If you're Patachuk, 1, ace-high often is good in this spot, and 2, Ben Lamb often bluffs at it.
Does ace-king think he has a chance? Yes, he does. but sorry, no you don't. Lamb will take the pot.
What did you expect, Andre? It's the year of Ben Lamb.
Lamb climbs over 17 million, good for third place, passing the Russian on the leaderboard.
The year of Ben Lamb, Lon.
Patachuk down to about 14 million chips now, and if there's one thing we've counted on during this main event, it's Ben Lamb raking chips. Welcome back to the 2011 World Series of Poker main event at the Rio. The hunt for the bracelet continues, but just 21 players remaining at the outer table. We're hearing that Bob Bunar from Belize just won a pot.
But I make a bluff sometime here.
Ah.
You know?
Yeah. You did.
Sometime.
How'd you beat?
I don't know.
I did. How'd you beat?
That's for the camera.
If I were a 49-year-old amateur in the main event with 21 players left, I'd be having a good time too.
Absolutely. Lars Bonding already gone from today's action. Folded to Ryan Lenahan, whose first name is James, so he's already bluffing before he plays a hand. With Jack 10, he raises to 425. Patachuk with King Jack.
How much you playing?
Like 10.5.
Patachuk's a part-time sports columnist. He should have a notebook to write that down. That's what we do.
He's on the button. With a re-raise to 925,000, small blind, Owen O.D., ace-jack of clubs.
And that is a decent hand in the small blind. It's been 3-bet already, however.
The hand values increase at a short-handed table. We are playing 7-handed all around. And the Irish pro with a re-raise to 2.3 million.
What OD is saying is this: Mr. Lenahan, you were in late position. I don't believe you. Mr. Patachuk, you were in later position. I don't believe you. I'm the small blind. I'm 4-betting. You better believe me.
You saw Lenahan fold. And Patachuk does likewise, and Owen O.D. will pick up some more chips.
See, I speak Irish very well.
O.D. will take another pot as he increases his lead on this table. The 4-better had the best hand, so a good play from the Irish pro, who has rebounded nicely from a dismal 2010.
I was definitely more focused this year. I think I didn't play well in any tournaments last year, and I think I was a bit fed up at the end of the series. It was not going well for me. Like this year, I've only played, I think I played 4 Hold'em events and cashed another 4. This is the 4th one, like. And just a lot more focused at the table, and just the main event's definitely like, obviously it's on show on the TV all the time, so it's a pretty massive event. It's been seen like in every country you can watch it on the TV, so it'd obviously be big news in Ireland if you took the title down, yeah.
OD says 2011 was looking like his worst year ever before the World Series, but he's turned it around.
An early position, Ben Lamb opened for 450,000 with pocket trays. Action on OD with ace-king of spades.
Lamb with the small raise from early position. You see a lot of small raises here in the late stages for 2 reasons. Experienced players want to control the size of the pot, and they want to minimize luck as much as possible, and smaller pots help that.
OD with position, re-raises to 1,150,000.
Sometimes the big stacks avoid each other, but here OD in the mood to dance with Ben Lamb.
Devonshire folded a small blind. Stashko is big. Now back to Lamb, and he gives it up. And so OD will take another pot without seeing a flop.
He's the chip leader now, but he hasn't played a lot of big pots.
Pretty serious today, huh?
Nice hands.
Indeed, OD picking up cards early, allowing him to comfortably push the action. That's a great confidence builder. And with that, as you mentioned, OD moves past Makieski for the chip lead in the main event. Over to the secondary table, the blue jacket of Makieski with ace-queen. 21-year-old could be the youngest ever main event champ, a raise to $500,000. Demers with queen 7. He folds to Chris Moore. Jack 10 off.
28-year-old Chicago pro.
Live earnings of almost $2 million.
All in.
He says all in with his Jack 10. That's almost 3 million chips of his.
How much is
3 about.
Back to Anton.
About 3. 3, Paul.
And a call from Makieski. Chris Moore needs to catch something to keep his seat.
Moore still stinging from his ace-jack, getting outflopped by Makieski's king-jack on day 7. Now he's hoping to turn the tables on Anton to keep his main event alive.
Makieski trying to get us to 20 players here in the main event, the flop. And there's a 10 for Moore.
That's gotta feel good to Chris Moore.
He is a solid favorite now over Makieski. turn card. King of clubs, more still ahead, but Makievsky with a Broadway draw.
And some concern on Chris Moore's face. So now an ace, queen, or jack would knock out Chris Moore.
The river card, a harmless 5, and Chris Moore will double up to $6.5 million.
Makievsky returns a few chips to Chris Moore.
At this point, I almost feel like I'm winning anything. It's all in.
Or Destiny's Child.
Stop
Moore
playing.
with a lot of work left to be done, but a small measure of revenge as he keeps his main event bracelet hopes alive. Welcome back to the main event. Lon McCarron along with Norman Chad and Kara Scott. Owen O.D., the chip leader with 21 players remaining. What a story that is.
Owen's father, Donica O.D., was the first non-American to make the main event final table in 1983. He did it again in 1991, and now Owen hoping to make them the first father and son to get to the main event final table.
Action on O.D., Queen 6, and he will sit this one out. Brian Devonshire on the button. Ace 6 off.
Devo trying to become the first former whitewater rafting guide to make the final table.
Devo with a raise to $450,000. The small blind, Martin Stashko.
Stashko would be the first from Czech Republic to make it to the main event final table.
Can he do it in a plaid shirt? That's the real question. He folds to the big blind, Hewitt.
Hewitt would be the second Costa Rican to make it. Umberto Branes did it in 1988.
Hewitt folds, so a weak ace on the button gives Devonshire the gumption to raise and take the pot. Devonshire in the middle of the pack here on day 8, but he's certainly one of the most adventurous players left in the field.
Oh. Brian Devonshire, Custer County, Colorado. The cowboy side is a bit of who I am. I've always been, I guess, a little southern by nature and heart. I moved to Colorado in January of 2003. I was living in LA at the point, going to school at USC, and my choice was finish out another 3 semesters of school or take this job guiding full-time out here, and that was the direction I wanted my life to be going, was in the outdoors. So took the job opportunity, and here I am. Poker's been a part of my life. I mean, as long as I can remember, my family took trips to Vegas, and Grandpa retired in Carson City, and Dad always ran a home game, and we played nickel, dime, quarter, silly games and such like that, and no one can ever remember me losing, but poker was always a means to an end, so I could have seasonal jobs and play in the wilderness. On a typical day, I'll be up at about 7 a.m. We'll catch ponies to go round up the rest of the horses, drive them all to the corral, and then we'll get all the horses saddled up as necessary for whatever trips we got going on that day. The allure of the horses and just having them around is pretty captivating.
Devo once saved a woman's life when she fell out of a sweep boat. The current was pulling her away, and he grabbed her by the ankle. I believe that's a one-outer.
All right, the former poker dealer, youth pastor, and as you mentioned, rafting guide with Jack 10 off. And he will raise it up to $440,000.
I once saved my second ex-wife's life by leaving her.
To Stashko on the button with ace 7 of spades. And he will lay it down. Hewitt folds his small blind, Ben Lamb in the big, ace 10 off. Lamb makes the call for $240,000 more.
Always double check your cards when your head's up against Lamb.
Devonshire and Lamb. Here is the flop. Jack 5. Jack Devonshire flops big. Trip jacks. Lamb checks to the razor. Brian with a normal continuation bet, $560,000.
No slow play from Devonshire. And if Lamb were on a flush draw, Devo doesn't want to give him a free turn card. I like Ben's look a lot more when he's dressed in black or white.
Ben, check raises to $1,400,000. Norman, we haven't seen many cases of bad timing for Ben, but this is one.
Yeah, right here, Ben with the 6% hand. With Devo at about $6 million, it's either call or move all in here.
All in.
All in.
There's the all in.
With Lamb's cards, there's no room for anything here but a fold.
Good hand.
And Ben Lamb does give it up. And Brian Devonshire will pick up a few more chips.
Devo's back on the horse.
Indeed, Norman up to 10th place with almost 9 million chips. Devonshire and Lamb are two seasoned pros clashing, but that does not mean they are tell-free. Joe Navarro with some analysis on that last hand.
In this video, Ben at first looks very strong, but then immediately it falls apart. Let's look at it. Number one, his blink rate goes up. What does that say? I'm under stress. Why? I think I'm weak. Number two, you saw that hard swallow just right there. Very, very important. It says, boy, I'm just really struggling here. And the third one has to do with right here. This tells us something is bothering me. You see that finger holding back? That's a reluctance cue. And what he's saying is, I'm going to do it, but I'm reluctant to do this.
Alon, I have a very fast blink rate right now, and I'm swallowing hard. Do you know what that means?
What does that mean?
My eyes are dry, and I'm thirsty. Ask Steve if I can get a sip of his coffee.
There were no reluctance cues at any of your weddings, were there?
Good for you.
All right, let's go from the featured table over to the secondary table. Anton Makievsky is under the gun, or first to act. Makievsky looks down at ace 10.
Bad poker posture. He looks like he's about to order a whiskey sour in a hotel lounge.
He has about $2 million more than anyone else at this table. He raises to $450,000 to Chris Moore. Moore with two red kings.
And Chris has got to be thinking it's time to get a few more chips back from Makievsky.
He is not short stacked anymore. He does not have to shove automatically here. Moore with a raise, though, to a cool $1 million.
Working with about 7 now?
No,
6 and change.
6.1 maybe.
Kenny Shee now.
Oh, Kenny Shee squeezing quicker. My chat with him paid off.
Folded back to Makievsky.
Well, over the course of this main event, we have learned a few things. Ben Lamb is good. Bob Munara has personality. And Anton Makievsky does not like to get pushed around.
All in.
And he re-raises Moore all in, and Moore quickly calls with the kings. A misstep by Anton.
And Moore still recovering from that 20 million chip pot he lost to Anton on day 7. Now in position to out-chip Makievsky.
Anton looks like a burglar who got caught. All right, so here is the flop, and an ace in the window. Makievsky with a pair, and Moore, the long shot now to stick around.
Moore is just Makievsky cursed.
The turn card, 7 of diamonds. That does not help Chris Moore.
Moore's got to hit a 2-outer here, or Makievsky has swept him out of this main event.
The river card is a queen, and that will end Chris Moore's main event journey at the hands of the man who hurt him so badly on day 7.
Chris Moore takes it well. Anton Makievsky back on top of the heap.
With almost 25 million chips, he bids farewell to Chris Moore, who wins over $302,000. Well done, Chris.
Twice Moore got out-flopped by Anton. You got to feel for him.
Makievsky now leading the main event once again, where the pot of gold at the end is used to make the most coveted piece of poker jewelry.
Well, that makes the main event so special.
Yes.
It's like our Wimbledon.
The utopia of poker.
It is poker's Super Bowl, and it feels like we're in the 4th quarter and have a shot right now.
I'm feeling very Olympic today.
I am here to get to the final table.
This is an extremely difficult marathon.
It can break down anyone.
Maybe the most brutal day in a poker player's year is the day we get knocked out of the main event.
When you're going deep, it's unbelievable.
It's exhilarating, it's exhausting, it's nerve-wracking, and it's the best experience for any poker player.
Oh, 8.7 million. That's what makes the main event so special.
For more on the World Series of Poker, log on to ESPN.com/poker.
I've often called it the last great American gold rush, and Lon, the main event remains a singular spectacle.
Here at the featured table, Stashko on the button with 8-7 of clubs.
Stashko from Trinnick. This main event field, 1/6 the size of Trinnick.
He is normally a very snug player. He raises to 425. Ben Lamb with a Jack Links beef jerky wild card hand.
From the big blind, I'll put Ben on an ace. Ace 8.
He called heads up for queen ace. Stashko with the flush draw. Lamb check to him. Stashko bets 525,000. And a call from Lamb.
No, Ben called him in a flash. He's got the ace. Next case.
Turn card is an 8. Lamb checks.
Oh, he checked aces and 8s. Tricky.
Stashko with a pair of 8s and a flush draw. He checks. The river card. Jack of hearts. Stashko misses his draw.
Somebody's a dead man, and it's not me or Ben. Lamb's either got aces up or a busted flush draw straight draw. I finally feel almost in tune with Ben Lamb.
Lamb bets $1,350,000.
Now, as we know, Stashko has the busted flush draw, but his pair of 8s could be good. Lamb has been diagnosed with a chronic bluffing disorder.
Stashko has invested $1 million already in this hand. But he lays it down. Ben Lamb still running good. Aces up to win the Jack Link's Beef Jerky wild card hand. Well done, Norman.
Oh, yeah? Who's your daddy? I am the wild card king.
Stashko in 17th place now with $5.5 million. Still looking warily at Ben Lamb, wondering if Lamb was bluffing there. Ben is one of the most active players in this main event, and that activity has led to some serious chip accumulation over the course of the main event. Top 10 in chips at the end of the last 3 days, and currently he's in 4th place.
His strength, he puts you in awkward spots. Ben Lamb always keeps you guessing.
Ben knows very well that he has to put his chips to work to win chips, and that's exactly what he does. Action on Brian Devonshire, first to act here on the Jack Link's Beef Jerky hole cam with 2 queens.
Devo borrowing Lon McCarron's San Francisco Giants baseball cap.
He knows how to back a winner. A raise to $420,000.
Well, they won once in the last, what, 30 years, 40 years, 70 years?
They won once. That's all you need to know. Stashko folds. Hewitt gives it up. Lamb will not play this hand. On the button, Ryan Lenahan with ace-9 off.
I'm all for packing lightly, but doesn't Lenahan have a different sweatshirt?
Lenahan with some purples there. A re-raise to $1,050,000 to find out how serious Devo really is.
Well, we have seen Ryan Lenahan engage in some nasty pre-flop raising wars.
The blinds fold back to Devonshire now with the queens.
And Devonshire with his serious thinking cap on at the moment.
Let's see how much of a giant Lenahan is awakened with his re-raise.
All in.
Wow, all in for over $8 million. And a last glance at the cards as Lenahan folds.
Lenahan raised to find out if he had the best hand. He did not. It was an easy fold.
Brian Devonshire still in 10th place. 9.7 million chips. It's been a pretty good day 8 so far for him. His fiancee Corey Henson is on the right, along with Katrina Blank and a lot of Devo's friends following his activity here on day 8. And Norman, take a look at what we have going at the outer table. Scott Schwalik in the middle woke up with aces, called the pre-flop raise of Alexander Moshnikov with kings. Action now on Pius Hines, who has pocket queens.
Do not adjust your TV sets. This is not a scene from a James Bond movie. Those cards are correct. Hines can get aggressive with queen deuce. No telling what he might do with queen queen.
Oh, here we go. A re-raise to $1,125,000 now to Moshnikov.
Moshnikov can get aggressive with a king and a Hallmark greeting card. No telling what he'll do with king king.
He 4-bets it to $1,700,000.
And Schwalik in the middle of a poker dream and hopes he never wakes up.
Moshnikov raised less than the minimum, but nobody notices. Schwalik says all in for almost $5.5 million.
A 5-bet all in. That's probably a wake-up call for Hines' queens.
Wow, he gets rid of the queens, and rightly so. Moshnikov makes the call. Moshnikov shows his kings, but your second best to Schwalik's aces. Wow, what a hand.
Hines glad he's out of that storm. Schwalik, 23-year-old Ohio pro at risk. Moshnikov, 25-year-old Russian pro, stands to lose 80% of his chips here unless he gets lucky.
So the aces and kings doing battle for 12.5 million chips. The flop, 8-10-7. That's a pretty safe flop for the aces. Moshnikov will be left with crumbs if he loses. Turn card. 4 of diamonds brings Schwalik a little closer to a huge pot.
Schwalik looking to dodge a king.
River is a tray. The patient Scott Schwalik comes up big.
If you're ever curious what a one-person rail sounded like, there you have it.
Thanks to the contribution of Hines, Schwalik more than doubles up. He's now in 7th place. And talk about someone dodging bullets. Pius Heinz' radar was working at full bore right there. Lucky him. Moshnikov down to 6 big blinds, becomes the short stack in the room. Scott Schwalek could not have drawn it up any better. He is back in the hunt. Welcome back to the Rio and the 2011 World Series of Poker main event presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. I'm Lon McCarron along with Norman Chad and Kara Scott. On the leaderboard, the youngest has the most. 21-year-old Anton Makievsky on top. Scott Schwalek now in contention. Phil Collins right now in 9th place.
They're all young. You have to be at least 21 to play in the main event. Pretty soon, maybe they won't let you play if you're over 30.
Qual Win would still qualify. He's 29 years old. With King Jack, he raises to $450,000.
Mamaliadis, 34. He could be barred from future main events.
Kenny Shee,
30 years old. He's through.
He folds. And the small blind, Sam Holden, still got a few years left.
22's okay.
He folds to Makievsky now. We know he's 21. He'll be here a long time under those rules. King Deuce.
21 and could become the youngest to win the main event. He's got a rag hand in the big blind.
Win with a raise to 450 already.
Makievsky's stubborn like a teenager. Of course, he was a teenager about 15 minutes ago.
Well, he's getting a lot of purples out there. Does he read weakness in Qual Win, or is this just Anton being Anton? A re-raise to $1,000,001.
Makievsky has been a delight to watch. Win's a part-time pro, full-time businessman. Owns a restaurant and some rental properties.
So Win needs $650,000 to call, and that's what he does.
I don't love that call. At least he's in position against the mad scientist.
Heads up, 2 big stacks. Ace, deuce, 6. Makievsky pairs his lowly kicker to grab the advantage.
Makievsky's first main event. First time in Las Vegas. First time in the U.S. I think he's coming back.
No doubt. So Makievsky with a handful of purple chips. And he will bet $1,100,000.
Win knows Anton is aggressive. Win knows his king high here could be good.
Makievsky got the smallest piece of that flop. Win missed entirely.
2.5.
And he's going to bluff at it, though. A raise to $2.5 million.
I like that play. Score 1 for the University of Calgary grad. Of course, no insta-fold from Anton. Perhaps the University of Calgary not the proper training ground to take on Makievsky.
So Win trying to turn the tables on Anton. He puts pressure back on the Ukrainian. But Norman, no one does it like Anton. A re-raise to $6 million. Take that, Qua.
How do you get that fearless that young? Maybe it's because you're that young, you're that fearless.
So Makievsky doing here after the flop what he did pre-flop.
Well, I'd love to see Win 4-bet him here, but I couldn't do it. Makievsky's like Ben Lamb with a visa.
Qua Win with just king high, as you mentioned. Whether he believes or not, does he really want to commit this many chips here? No, he decides to fold, and Makievsky wins that battle of wills.
Big stack, big bully, big man.
Makievsky with $29.5 million. Now nobody can play with this guy. Qua Win, Anton's latest victim in a high-level battle of big stakes. Here is 11-time bracelet winner Phil Hellmuth to break down that hand we just saw.
Okay, here's what you can do with the great read. You can win free chips and become super aggressive. That's what you can do with a great read, unless, unfortunately for Win, your opponent has an even greater read on you. And that's poker. Sometimes it's a game of 2 cars coming at each other. Chicken! Well, Win chickened out in this hand. But Makievsky made 2 great reads there. The first great read, he raised before the flop with King Deuce. And he really should have had Win fold. The second great read is when he was raised on the flop, he took it to the next level. That is picking up $2.5 to $3 million in chips because you have a great read and you have the heart, aggression, determination to back that read up.
Makievsky, 21 years old, and just looks like he's headed to the mall to see Harry Potter.
All right, back to the only outer table left in play. Bob Bunara of Belize bet $675,000 after flopping 2 pair. He's on the right. On the left, Phil Collins caught just a pair of jacks. And Collins raises Bunara all in.
As usual, Bunara on a short stack with a decision.
With 2 pair.
I call.
He does call all in. And heads for the cheap seats.
Bunara with a little attitude there. Bob a bit excitable. Phil Collins always businesslike.
Jack on the turn would be good.
Jack, just get it over with.
When Bob's all in, he prefers to be elsewhere.
I don't want to do that now.
What's the button with King Jack? Jack 5-6. I don't have the best hand.
All right, here we go. Turn card is at 10. Bunara still ahead. 1 card to come.
If Bunara doubles up here, he's going to have more chips than Collins.
Yeah, he's hiding somewhere. Good luck, Bob.
A king, jack, or 10 knocks out Bunara.
The river card is a 4. Bunara doubles again.
Yes, baby! Yes! 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 That's it! That is it!
Bunara back in business.
That is it!
That's it, huh?
As you mentioned, he passes Phil Collins, who's in 11th place now. Can you believe that?
Bunara trying to become the first Belizean to make the main event final table.
In 10th place with almost 10 million chips. Bob is thrilled about that, as is his daughter.
You're still on me, sir? You're the man.
He barely made it through day 7, but Bunara seems to have found his stride here on day 8, winning chips that have some real power now. The French came through again as Antonin Tessier was the 4th player from France to win jewelry in 2011. This one coming from the $5,000 triple chance no limit hold'em event. It was beginner's luck for David Cincontico, who played his first ever World Series tournament in the $1,500 pot limit Omaha High-Low event and brought home the bracelet.
It's been an amazing journey. I have good friends and I had a good time, and good luck to win this event. I'm so happy.
How do you win a bracelet your first time out? I've tried 19 times, haven't even been close.
A lot of firsts for the remaining 20 players. This main event marks the first World Series cash for 6 of them. Only 3 players have double-digit World Series cashes: Lamb, Devonshire, and Matt Giannetti. And one of those first-time World Series cashers is Anton Makievsky, the 21-year-old who's currently the chip leader, guaranteed over $302,000. There is Brian Devonshire under the gun, first to act, ace-jack of spades.
This is Devo's 11th World Series cash.
Devo raised it to $420,000 on the Jackling Speed Jerky whole cam. Jack deuce of diamonds for Stashko, but they're in the muck now.
Of course, Phil Hellmuth, the most World Series cashes in history with 84.
In the small blind, Andrei Patachuk with pocket 5s. He's a semi-pro volleyball player back home in Moscow, Russia.
Semi-pro volleyball player. I guess that's like a semi-pro poker commentator.
Oh. He makes a call for $320,000 in the big blind. Irish pro Owen O'D with pocket 6s, and he'll come along.
3 players in the hand, Lon. They all can't win. Semi-pro poker commentator.
All right, here we go to the flop. 9 queen 9 OD remains the hand to beat. No help for Patachuk. He checks. OD checks. Devonshire checks as well.
It's a draw heavy flop.
Turn card. 4 of spades. Devo picks up a flush draw. Patachuk with a 5% hand. But chips in hand, some of each color. $655,000. OD folds.
The hand that's behind bets, the best hand folds, and now the only draw thinks.
Devonshire with the draw, studying his Russian opponent. And Devo will make the call.
Devo actually getting the right price to call there.
A lot of cards in the deck can still win it for him. Tray of hearts. Devo bricks the river. Patachuk has the best of it.
Andre originally bet when he had the worst of it, so I believe he's supposed to bet now when he has the best of it.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's semi-professional poker commentary.
And he is going to bet $1,125,000.
Devonshire missed his draw, so he's supposed to fold.
And Devonshire does just that, and the pre-flop long shot, Patachuk takes the pot.
Semi-professional volleyball player plays poker pretty good, and the semi-professional poker commentator commentates on poker pretty good, if I may say so myself.
Patachuk with $13.2 million. At the secondary table, Gianni Demers raised all in with ace-5 on a short stack. He was called by that man, Costa Mamaliadis, with pocket kings. Demers on his feet, perhaps with one last swig from the fountain of main event survivors. The flop 10 queen 8, Mamaliadis still good.
The 23-year-old Demers was down to under 12 big blinds.
Turn card now. 6 of spades, Demers 1 card from elimination.
Demers looking for a 3-outer. Mamaliadis listening to his one-man rail.
It's a 7 on the river. Gianni Demers eliminated from the 2011 main event.
He was a kid with a dream.
Demers from New Jersey wins $302,000 for his first World Series cash, 20th place in the big one. It is a cruel fact of the main event that when you get short, you have to gamble. Demers out as Mamaliadis gets stronger. Welcome back to the Amazon room as the field continues to shrink. We started day 8 with 22 players. Lars Bonding was the first to go. Chris Moore followed him when his kings didn't hold up. And just before the break, Gianni Demers' ace-5 fell to the kings of Costa Mamaliadis. Now just 19 players are left. With one more elimination, the outer table will be gone, and just 2 nine-handed tables will be in play. Folded here to Andre Patachuk, ace-jack. A raise to $400,000, the minimum raise.
All day, we've seen a lot of small pre-flop raises. Min raises are close to it. I think it's time people started to man up.
Martin Stashko on the button. Ace-4 into the muck in the small blind. John Hewitt folds. Lamb with king-jack will come along for $200,000 more.
And of course, with the min raise, you allow the big blind in for cheap.
All right, heads up, Lamb and Patachuk. The flop, deuce, jack, tray, all hearts. Lamb with a pair of jacks and a flush draw. He checks. Patachuk, top pair, top kicker. He checks. Turn card, another heart, and Lamb turns the flush.
It's good to be Ben Lamb.
Ben with 4 purples, that's $400,000.
Lamb was dominated pre-flop, behind on the flop, and bang, his opponent is drawing dead on the turn.
But Patachuk does make the call. River card, pairs the board, another 6. And it's going to cost Patachuk more now, $1.2 million. And Andre gives it up.
Patachuk wasn't convinced he was beat on the turn, but then decided on the river, yeah, I'm toast. He's Ben Lamb.
Lamb's natural game is to keep pressure on his table mates, and that can work very well at this stage of the main event. Patachuk down to $13.2 million.
And Ben Lamb continues to carve out a World Series to remember.
Working up to a 19 million chip stack right now. At the outer table, Sam Barnhart raised with ace-10. Action on short-stacked Alexander Mozhnikov. Mozhnikov with king, queen of hearts moves all in. Sam wants a count.
Mozhnikov with less than 8 big blinds left.
Barnhart started the hand with only about 4 million.
So you like it or you don't?
Barnhart getting 2.5 to 1 on a call here. It's for 25% of Sam's stack.
The amateur does take his time with every decision.
965 call. I call.
And for just shy of $1 million, Barnhart will make the call to put Mozhnikov at risk, and Sam ahead.
You know, the oldest player left always takes a little time, as you mentioned, before making the call.
I know whom are you cheering.
Barnhart could get us to 18 players. 4 tray, 4 no hearts. Barnhart ahead with ace high.
Mozhnikov swimming upstream against Barnhart's ace-10.
Turn card, jack of diamonds. Sam still good.
Mozhnikov needs a king or queen, or he is wamboozled.
The river card, the deuce of diamonds. Mozhnikov will hang his gone fishing sign.
Sam doesn't look a day over 50.
Barnhart scores the knockout. So Mozhnikov finishes in 19th place, $302,000, completing his World Series with 5 cashes for the summer. Barnhart now in 14th place as he crests the 6 million chip mark. So we're down to 18 players, just 2 tables as we reach a key benchmark here on day 8. 21-year-old Anton Makievsky remains in the lead. Ben Lamb has chipped up nicely. Mamaliadis and Schwalik making some decent gains as well.
And the old fogies are holding on, 49-year-old Bob Bunara and 51-year-old Sam Barnhart.
Right now, let's go down to Kara Scott, who is with the current chip leader.
Anton, let's talk about your chip stack. You're coming in here to the final 2 tables with the chip lead. What's going through your head?
Just like yesterday, nothing's going through my head. I'm just trying to win more chips, trying to play my best game. I'm not actually trying to put a lot of pressure to my opponents because there are a lot of young opponents that understand a lot, so I'm just, I'm mixing my game.
And you think you have a pretty good read on the final 18 players, the other 17?
No.
Well, I guess we will see. Thank you so much.
With day 8 underway, the math has become simple. 18 players left, half make the November 9. Anton Makievsky is threatening to run away with it, but OD and Lamb lie waiting for the 21-year-old to slip up.
Pretty serious today, huh?
The odyssey to the final table continues. You never know what obstacles lie ahead. For Norman Chad and Kara Scott, I'm Lon McCarran. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.